you read me and all of my friends the Paul Revere's Ride poem? Of course, my grandchild. Here it goes. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere.
The A-Push News Network proudly presents Paul Revere, the man behind the legend. Hello, I'm the history critic. I remember it so that you can strive for 5. We've all read Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's famous poem, The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. It's an American classic. There's just one tiny little problem with it.
It is a complete piece of garbage. It's totally incorrect. It's a piece of crap.
Who the heck are you?
You'd recognize me if I was in the poem. I'm William Dawes, one of the other riders from Paul Revere's Ride.
Oh, it's an honor to meet you, sir. Wait, haven't you been dead for almost 200 years?
My specter has returned to be on your show so that I can finally get the credit that I deserve.
Okay then. Well, I suppose we should get to what actually happened.
Yes, we should.
Now, the first misconception about Paul Revere's Ride. According to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem, Paul Revere was the lone man against impossible odds that overcame a ridiculously long horse ride at midnight to save the country from certain doom. Well, that's not exactly true. He set out to warn Lexington and Concord about the British attack, but there were actually two other riders with him that night. Samuel Prescott and William Dawes.
That's me.
Yes. Yeah, I think we know who you are by now. Now, for the second misconception about Paul Revere's Ride. Longfellow's poem states that the signal in the Old North Church was meant for Paul Revere, so that he would know whether to warn the people of an attack by land or sea. In actuality, the signal was designed by Paul Revere to warn the people of Charlestown in case he and the other 2 riders were captured.
Those other 2 riders have names, you know.
My apologies, Mr. Dawes.
You can call me Bill.
Okay, Bill. And now for the third misconception about Paul Revere's Ride.
Why do you keep calling it Paul Revere's Ride?
Fine. The third misconception about the Midnight Ride, is that the riders uttered the warning, "The British are coming." Well, this didn't happen because there were British patrols all over the place. If they had actually shouted, "The British are coming," well, they would have all been captured.
So we said the regulars are coming instead.
Exactly. And now for the final misconception about Paul Revere's Ride. You see, Paul Revere didn't actually finish the ride. He was actually captured by British patrol along the way.
Prescott and I didn't get captured. We completed our...
Actually, Prescott was the only one that actually finished the ride. You kind of fell off your horse.
No, that moron Henry Wadsworth Longfellow is the one who fell off his horse. Rewriting history and not even putting me in that poem? Why, I'm going back to wherever I came from to give him a piece of my mind.
Okay, good luck with that. Wait, did he just disappear? Well, he was a ghost. Either that or I'm hallucinating because I ate my sister-in-law's cooking. And now we go to my colleague, Randoma Facts, for some interesting facts about Paul Revere.
Thank you, history critic, and now for some interesting facts about Paul Revere. He was born in 1768 on the north side of Boston and died in 1818 at the age of 83. His father was a French Huguenot and his mother was from Boston. Besides being a silversmith, Paul Revere was also a part-time dentist. Yeah, back then being a dentist meant that the only thing you could do for a patient with a toothache was to pull their tooth out with giant pliers. Oh, and guess what people used as toothpaste back then? Crushed bricks! He engraved the famous engraving of the Boston Massacre as a propaganda against the British. One can only imagine the raw hatred of the British Revere must have had at the time of this engraving, because in his efforts to portray the British as bloodthirsty monsters, he puts a puppy in the middle of the massacre. Or maybe he just didn't like puppies. Paul Revere was a member of the Sons of Liberty, and some sources believe that he may have been part of the Boston Tea Party. And last but not least, Paul Revere was a Freemason. Wait, does this mean the conspiracy theories are true? Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Randoma. This has been another edition of A-Push News. I'm the history critic, and I remember it so that you can strive for 5.